Nolan, good to see you. This is my Halloween theme video, Understanding Phantom Income and its Scary Tax Implications. Few things sound scarier than phantom income. You'd think any kind of income would be good, but this one and the taxes that come with it can take a lot of investors by surprise. So what is phantom income?
Thanks, Erin. Phantom income in its basic nature is income that you have to, I guess, receive without actually receiving it. That may not make a lot of sense up front, but we'll get into it a little bit. It's most typically found in mutual funds. Phantom income is, for example, if a mutual fund were to have a capital gain, like the mutual fund holds a stock for longer than 1 year, the mutual fund may sell that stock and then push some of the taxable obligation onto the individual investor who owns that fund. That's phantom gains in a nutshell.
Okay, so just to underscore this, you are on the hook to pay taxes on money you never actually received.
Correct. In most cases, like if
That's
you have to pay capital gains tax, if your tax bracket is that high, then yes, you would have to pay tax on these phantom gains. So you may own a mutual fund in a brokerage account or a non-qualified account. You hold it for the whole calendar year of 2023. 2023 happened to be a very good year, but you didn't go through and sell your mutual fund shares. You probably still had to pay tax on those gains, even though you didn't sell anything. So yes, you do have to pay tax even if you didn't take the money home.
So how will I know I'm paying that tax? Am I looking for it on my tax return?
So on your tax return, you can find it on there, but it's a little bit, I don't know, kind of hard to get to. Most mutual fund companies will also issue what's called a distribution schedule. And on that distribution schedule, they will list all of their mutual funds, and they will then list the percentage of capital gains or phantom gains, basically, that the fund is pushing to the individual investors. And that's listed on most every fund's website. And if you ever need help finding those, I'm happy to help you find those as well.
Well, I'm glad you bring that up because I know you focus on strategic tax planning. So how do we avoid phantom income?
Sure. So avoiding it can come in a few different shapes and sizes, but the main thing to, I guess, look at first is, are you paying it? Now, if you're paying phantom gains, you need to then address the individual investments that are generating those. If it's one or two mutual funds, then to avoid those phantom gains, you just need to find a better equivalent in your portfolio for those mutual funds that can defer those taxes or postpone them altogether so that you don't have to pay them. And there's a few different ways maybe to go about doing that.
Yeah, so let's talk that through. What other strategies should we consider to avoid phantom income other than maybe considering ETFs instead of mutual funds?
Great. And ETFs instead of mutual funds, because we didn't necessarily peel into it too much.
Yeah.
You can choose a growth mutual fund or a growth ETF, and they have the exact same investment objective, but just choosing an ETF chassis, just choosing an ETF, exchange traded fund instead of a mutual fund, automatically defers those phantom gains. So that's the first and probably easiest way to avoid those phantom gains. You look at your mutual fund, you go find an ETF equivalent of it, and then choose that ETF. And unless you're getting dividends from the ETF, then you're not paying any gains year over year. You only pay when you sell ETFs. There's two other strategies that you can do. First, if you're not just choosing an ETF over a mutual fund, you could always take some of your non-qualified assets or some of those taxable assets and go put them into your 401k or IRA or Roth if you're still working. That's an option. If you want to keep the same mutual fund but defer the taxes each year, you can go put it in a retirement account if you are still working. And then finally, maybe you're not still working, but you want to increase the tax efficiency of your portfolio. Some mutual funds are able to eliminate phantom gains as a specific objective. They're tax efficient mutual funds. And you can also do what are called SMAs, or separately managed accounts. And these are mutual funds, but they are managing stock or bond portfolios within it instead of passing on gains to individual investors. So there's two or three different ways to go about it. Every different sock for every foot, I guess. But I guess, just understand if you are paying it, and then I guess understand what your options are as far as how to avoid paying those taxes.
A lot to consider. I'm glad we got to talk this through because I think a lot of people maybe aren't too familiar with this, but it can be scary. So Nolan, if somebody wants to talk it through with you, how can they reach you?
So they can call us at 616-301-2581 or go to our website, cornerstone-rp.com, and fill out the contact us box at the bottom, and we're happy to help in any way we can.
Nolan, thank you.
Thanks, Erin.